Hola. My name is Tim Mateo. Welcome to my time. I'm wearing this authentic sombrero purchased for those of you who are watching in old Mexico. And I'm wearing it to make a point about, a couple points actually, about something that's pretty important to the Lord, and I hope it will become pretty important to you. Though I confess on the front end that I don't particularly care for the sombrero image because it sort of feeds some pretty negative stereotypes of Hispanics that I just haven't found to be true in any of the acquaintances and friends that I've made. The sombrero takes me back to those old Western days of Gunsmoke and John Wayne and all of those, and you usually, generally speaking, have two images of the old Mexicans and their sombreros. One of them is with the brim kind of pulled down and you see them asleep. I think they call that siesta. And the other is the old party atmosphere. In fact, they've kind of still hung on to that image. If it's your birthday and you've ever been in a Mexican restaurant, you'll know if they find out. And for some reason, they always manage to find out around my birthday. They'll bring it over, slip it on your head, and everyone will gather around, big party atmosphere, singing happy birthday to you. Fiesta, or party. So you got, on one hand, siesta, on the other hand, fiesta. And it occurs to me as I prepare to talk with you about something that's relatively important to God, according to His Word, that both the element of siesta and fiesta fit it. And that word, of course, in Hebrew is Shabbat. In English, we say Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And of the 10 Commandments, believe it or not, more is written, more words, more verses, more is written about the Sabbath than in any of the other commands. God's pretty serious about the commandments in general. And He's especially serious about the principle of Sabbath. Not necessarily the day. I'm smart enough to know, save your emails, that Sabbath is the 7th and Saturday's the Sabbath and we now worship on the Lord's Day. But the principle of Sabbath is a pretty serious thing to the Lord. Jesus said, you recall, the Sabbath was made for man, not vice versa. And the Sabbath isn't about rule keeping. It's about what's good for us. And so the reason it's so important to the Lord is it distinguishes us and our worldview from those around us. And I think God would say, as your Heavenly Father looking down upon you, you need the principle of Sabbath in order to do life well. And so I want to talk this week, very briefly, and then next week, about those elements of Sabbath, fiesta and siesta. We'll talk about siesta first. Siesta means to rest, to not do. Sabbath means to unplug, is the term I always use. I've spoken with you about that before. There's an unplugging that must occur in your life if you are really going to plug in to who your Heavenly Father is, and if you're going to seek Him and seek Him well. Now I want to warn you on the front end, if you're not someone who's used to unplugging, it's going to be difficult. In fact, it's so difficult, it was for me, that years ago I made a pretty drastic decision and choice. I split my day off into 2 half days. And so I'll take one afternoon during the week and I'll make it my Sabbath siesta time, and then I'll take another half day and make it my Sabbath fiesta time. We'll talk about fiesta and recharging next week. But I want to challenge you, when you look at that 432 sticker that our members are carrying around, and those of you who are guest watchers, if you want one, just contact us. I'll get you one, or we'll get one to you, which is a daily reminder that we are to withdraw from what we're doing and we're to seek our Heavenly Father and seek His blessings for our church. It's difficult in this day and age with the technology, the culture that we live in, the schedules that we keep. Unplugging is really, really difficult, which only proves the point of just how intentional you have to be in order to do it. And so when I'm on my Sabbath siesta afternoon, I don't interact with a lot of people. I don't play golf or do hobbies. I don't schedule meetings. I don't take phone calls, except from my wife and maybe my kids. If there's an emergency, people know how to contact me. But other than that, I've had very few calls on my siesta day. It is a day of unplugging so that I can quiet my spirit down and give my ear to the Lord. And so I'm not telling you you're supposed to split your day off. I'm not telling you that you're supposed to do anything the way I do it. I'm telling you that you better, for your good and for the good of your family and your soul, figure out how to rest well. Well, that's enough for this week. Adios. It's time for a siesta.